Hey guys, tonight we're going on an absolutely incredible journey. One that dives deep into something we all do, every single day, but rarely ever truly think about: sleep. You're going to find yourself drifting through ancient oceans, feeling the subtle rhythms of primordial life, and witnessing the astonishing evolutionary leaps that led to your very own cozy bed. Imagine, if you will, the earliest single-celled organisms, not quite sleeping as we know it, but certainly needing a moment of quiet, a time to just be. It's a process so fundamental, so deeply ingrained in the fabric of life, that without it, well, you probably wouldn't survive your next 24 hours, let alone the next few million years of evolution. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, if you're listening, drop your location and local time in the comments. It's always wild to see where everyone is tuning in from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're drifting in a primordial soup. A warm, nutrient-rich broth under a sky that is both alien and familiar. There are no grand mountains here, no sprawling continents, just the vast, undulating surface of an early Earth. You can feel the subtle shift as the planet slowly turns, bringing with it the predictable arrival of light and dark rhythms. This isn't just about day and night as we experience them. It's about the fundamental pulse of the planet, the earliest environmental cue that life had to reckon with. You sense the warmth of the sun as it bathes the water, accelerating chemical reactions, stimulating growth. Then, as darkness descends, a different kind of quiet settles, a time when energy expenditure might be less efficient and protection from radiation becomes more critical. Think of it like this. Even before there were eyes to see the sun set, the molecules themselves knew. They responded. One mainstream historical fact about these early rhythms is that the Earth's rotation has been gradually slowing down over geological time, meaning ancient days were much shorter than our 24-hour cycle. Imagine a world where dawn and dusk cycled through every few hours. A quirky tidbit? Some theories suggest that the very first biological clocks might have been simple, light-sensitive proteins that helped early life repair DNA damage caused by harsh UV radiation during the day, then rested or shifted their function during the dark. It was like a very primitive, cellular version of putting on sunscreen, then collapsing on the couch after a long day at the beach. Historians still argue whether the earliest forms of life evolved their internal rhythms in response to the absolute changes in light and dark, or if they were primarily driven by subtle fluctuations in temperature or even tidal forces. For you, now, the sensation is one of profound simplicity. You are a part of the earliest whisperings of life, feeling the ebb and flow of planetary time. This constant, predictable cycling of light and dark laid the very first foundation for what would eventually become the complex, essential act of sleep. It was the planet's first lullaby, teaching everything on it the rhythm of rest and activity, a rhythm that would be refined over billions of years of evolution. The stage for sleep, in its most basic form, was set. You're still drifting in that primal warm soup, intimately connected to the rhythmic shift between light and dark. But now, you focus on the simplest inhabitants of this ancient world, the unicellular rest, the dawn of dormancy. You observe how these single-celled organisms, the very first forms of life, exhibit basic resting states, a crucial evolutionary precursor to the complex sleep we know today. It's like watching a tiny microscopic factory that occasionally decides to power down its production line for a little bit. Not because it's tired, but because it's smart. Imagine yourself as one of these minuscule beings. During the day, you're a bustling hub of activity, photosynthesizing, absorbing nutrients, replicating your genetic material. You're a tiny, efficient machine, constantly engaged in the business of living and multiplying. But then, as darkness descends, or perhaps when nutrients become scarce, you feel an internal switch flip. Your metabolic rate slows, your movements become sluggish, or you might even form a protective cyst, a tiny, impenetrable fortress to ride out unfavorable conditions. This isn't sleep in the mammalian sense, with dreams and brain waves, but it's a fundamental decision to conserve energy, to repair, and to survive. It's the original power nap, just on a scale you can't even begin to imagine. One mainstream historical fact here is that many modern single-celled organisms, like bacteria and protists, still exhibit various forms of dormancy, such as sporulation or encystment. When faced with environmental stressors, these ancient survival strategies are still very much in play today, a testament to their evolutionary success. It's a bit like finding a dinosaur in your backyard, only it's microscopic and much less prone to eating your prize-winning petunias. A quirky tidbit? Some research suggests that the very genes involved in regulating sleep-wake cycles in humans have surprisingly ancient origins, with rudimentary versions found even in these single-celled ancestors. It hints at a deep, fundamental biological imperative to rest that predates complex brains by billions of years. Historians still argue whether the primary driver for these early resting states was energy conservation, protection from environmental stressors, or a basic form of cellular repair and waste removal. Was it about survival, or just a really early form of spring cleaning? For you, the sensation is one of profound simplicity and necessity. These tiny, ancient beings, without brains or complex nervous systems, had already figured out the wisdom of downtime. They taught the very first lesson of sleep. Sometimes, the best way to thrive is to stop doing anything at all for a while. This foundational concept, this inherent need for periods of reduced activity, was the tiny seed from which the mighty tree of sleep would eventually grow. You've witnessed the humble beginnings of rest in single-celled life, a basic survival strategy. But now, as you continue your journey through the evolutionary currents, you see life taking a monumental leap. The advent of multicellularity's challenge, coordinating downtime. You observe how organisms composed of many cells faced an entirely new set of problems when it came to synchronized rest, far more complex than a lone bacterium deciding to hunker down. It's like trying to get an entire orchestra to take a coordinated nap rather than just one sleepy violinist. Imagine yourself as a very early, simple, multicellular creature. You're no longer just one cell. You're a collection of cells, each with its own needs, but all working together as a single organism. Some cells are busy gathering food, others are responsible for movement, and still others are involved in reproduction. If one cell decides to rest entirely on its own schedule, it could throw off the entire operation like a rogue gear in a tiny, living machine. The evolutionary pressure now isn't just about individual cellular survival, but about the harmonious coordination of an entire cellular community. How do you tell everyone it's time to slow down, to repair, to conserve energy, all at once? One mainstream historical fact about multicellularity is that it evolved independently multiple times in Earth's history, leading to the incredible diversity of life we see today, from plants and fungi to animals. It's not a singular invention, but a recurring solution to the challenges of scaling up life. A quirky tidbit? Some theories suggest that the very first signaling molecules that coordinated these early multicellular resting states might have been simple hormones or neurotransmitters, the ancient ancestors of the complex chemicals that regulate your sleep today. It's a bit like a primordial lights-out signal, but instead of a switch, it was a tiny chemical whisper. Historians still argue whether the initial coordination of rest in multicellular organisms was primarily driven by the need for energy efficiency, or if it was more about protecting vulnerable cells during periods of high environmental stress, like extreme temperatures or nutrient scarcity. Was it about saving pennies or dodging bullets? For you, the sensation is one of increasing complexity. The simple, individual dormancy of unicellular life had to evolve into a system-wide orchestration. This challenge of coordinating rest, of finding a way for billions of cells to hit the pause button simultaneously, was a pivotal step towards the highly regulated, essential process we now call sleep. The need for a collective zzz was becoming undeniably clear. You've just witnessed the grand evolutionary leap to multicellularity and the new challenge of coordinating rest across a symphony of cells. Now, as you drift further into the ancient past, you turn your attention to some of the simplest animals to emerge. The jellyfish dreams, the simplicity in slumber. You observe how these ethereal, pulsating creatures with their rudimentary nervous systems enter states that strikingly resemble sleep, hinting at a very early basic form of neuronal quietude. It's like watching a living, shimmering poem that occasionally decides to pause its performance for a bit of downtime. Imagine yourself suspended in a vast, ancient ocean, surrounded by these translucent, bell-shaped organisms. During their active periods, they rhythmically pulse, drifting with the currents, snatching tiny morsels of food. But then, as the day-night cycle shifts, or perhaps in response to specific internal cues, their pulsations slow dramatically. They might drift downwards, closer to the seafloor, or simply reduce their movements to the bare minimum. They become less responsive to external stimuli, ignoring the gentle currents or the brush of a passing shadow. This isn't the deep, dreaming sleep of a human, but it's a clear, quantifiable period of reduced activity and responsiveness, a state of quietude that allows for some fundamental form of biological repair or consolidation. One mainstream historical fact about jellyfish is their incredible evolutionary longevity. They've been around for at least 500 million years, making them some of the oldest multi-organ animals on Earth. They've been sleeping, or something very like it, for 500 million years, which is quite the impressive snooze record. A quirky tidbit? Recent scientific studies on jellyfish have actually identified a sleep-like state characterized by reduced pulsation, decreased responsiveness to stimuli, and a rebound effect. They wake up faster if their rest is interrupted. This suggests that even without a centralized brain, the need for sleep is wired into their most basic neural networks. It's almost as if the universe decided early on, all right, even blobby things need a break. Historians still argue whether the primary evolutionary pressure for this early form of sleep in simple organisms like jellyfish was purely for energy conservation, or if it was more fundamentally about optimizing the efficiency of their limited neuronal networks, allowing for synaptic plasticity or waste clearance. Was it about saving juice or cleaning house? For you, the sensation is one of elegant simplicity. The jellyfish demonstrates that the fundamental requirements for sleep aren't tied to complex brains or conscious thought. They are woven into the very fabric of nervous system function, a basic and profound necessity for even the most ancient and seemingly uncomplicated forms of animal life. The quiet hum of their resting pulsations echoes the universal need for a restorative pause. You've seen the fascinating, simple slumber of jellyfish, proving that even a basic nervous system needs its quiet time. Now, we move a step further, observing creatures that are a bit more complex, yet still reveal the fundamental nature of rest. The worm's stillness, a basic neural reset. You watch as various species of worms, from the segmented earthworm to the tiny transparent sea elegans, demonstrate distinct periods of inactivity, suggesting a crucial role for this downtime in nervous system maintenance. It's like a tiny, squiggly computer that needs to periodically defragment its hard drive. Imagine yourself now as one of these humble worms. You spend your waking hours burrowing through soil, searching for nutrients, or perhaps wriggling through water, sensing your environment with primitive nerve bundles. You react to touch, to chemicals, to light. But then, after a period of intense activity, you notice an undeniable urge to simply stop. You curl into a tight ball or stretch out motionless on the substrate. Your movements cease. Your reactions to external stimuli become significantly dulled, and your metabolic rate slows. This isn't just taking a break because you're tired. It's a necessary biological function, a chance for your relatively simple nervous system to clean up, reorganize, and prepare for the next bout of activity. It's the original system reboot. But instead of a click, it's a quiet, internal process. One mainstream historical fact here is that the study of simple organisms like C. elegans, a nematode worm, has been absolutely pivotal in understanding the genetic and neural mechanisms of sleep. Because their nervous systems are so well mapped, every single one of their 302 neurons is known. Scientists can observe precisely how changes in activity affect their resting states. It's like having a perfectly detailed wiring diagram for a tiny living machine. A quirky tidbit? Some research suggests that worms deprived of this necessary stillness will exhibit sleep rebound, meaning they'll try to compensate for lost rest by becoming even more inactive later. It's proof that even a worm knows the misery of pulling an all-nighter. Historians still argue whether the primary evolutionary advantage of this basic neural reset in worms was purely for conserving energy in nutrient-scarce environments, or if the restorative functions for neurons, like clearing metabolic waste products, were the more significant driving force. Was it about survival of the fittest, or just giving tired neurons a much-needed spa day? For you, the sensation is one of elegant simplicity. The worm's stillness reinforces the idea that sleep, or at least a deep, restorative pause, is not a luxury for complex brains. It's a fundamental requirement for even the most basic nervous systems to function effectively, to learn, and to survive. The quiet hum of a resting worm is a silent testament to the ancient, universal need for neural maintenance. You've just explored the quiet stillness of the worm, understanding how a basic neural reset is crucial. Now, as you subtly shift to the aquatic world, you encounter another ancient group, the fish, and their unique relationship with rest. The fish's vigil, staying safe while resting. You observe how fish exhibit altered states of awareness, a delicate balance between conserving energy and remaining acutely aware of predators in their often dangerous environments. It's like a perpetually light sleeper who can't quite turn off their internal alarm. Imagine yourself as a fish, suspended in a shimmering ancient reef. During the active day, you dart through coral, foraging for food, constantly scanning for threats. But as dusk falls, you seek out a safe crevice, or perhaps simply slow your movements dramatically, hovering almost motionless in the water column. Your fins might barely twitch, your gills pump at a reduced rate, and your eyes, often lidless, remain open. You're in a state of reduced responsiveness, certainly not actively swimming or feeding, but you're far from truly unconscious. A sudden shadow, A change in current, or the approach of a larger silhouette, will instantly jolt you back to full alertness. It's a calculated risk, a half-sleep designed for survival in a world where danger is always lurking. One mainstream historical fact about fish sleep is that while they don't have eyelids or exhibit the complex brainwave patterns of mammalian sleep, their periods of inactivity are functionally equivalent to sleep, characterized by reduced metabolic rate and responsiveness. Deprive a fish of this rest, and it will eventually show signs of fatigue, just like you would. It's a bit like trying to sleep with one eye open at a very noisy slumber party. A quirky tidbit? Some species of fish, like parrotfish, create a mucus cocoon around themselves before resting. This sticky sleeping bag might protect them from parasites or even mask their scent from nocturnal predators. Imagine waking up and having to literally burst out of your own snot bubble every morning. Historians still argue whether this state of reduced, yet vigilant, rest in fish primarily evolved due to constant predation pressure, or if it was more fundamentally driven by the need to maintain oxygen uptake in aquatic environments where deep unconsciousness could be fatal. Was it about survival from being eaten, or simply not suffocating? For you, the sensation is one of constant evolutionary compromise. The fish's vigil demonstrates that sleep isn't a one-size-fits-all phenomenon. For millions of years, life forms have been negotiating the delicate balance between the absolute necessity of rest and the ever-present dangers of their world. This ancient strategy of partial awareness laid another crucial building block in the complex architecture of how all creatures, including you, eventually got their ZZs. You've just explored the vigilant rest of fish, a testament to survival in a dangerous world. Now, you transition from the ancient seas to the varied landscapes where life began to venture onto land. Here, you encounter amphibians and their mastery of amphibian torpor, surviving extremes through deep adaptive dormancy. You observe how these creatures, caught between aquatic and terrestrial worlds, evolved remarkable abilities to essentially pause their lives when conditions became unbearable. It's like a living, breathing remote control, capable of hitting a very long standby button. Imagine yourself as an amphibian, perhaps a frog or a salamander, living in an ancient, unpredictable environment. The seasons bring not just changes in light and dark, but dramatic shifts in temperature and water availability. The pond might dry up, or the air might become bitterly cold. Instead of facing certain death, you feel an innate urge to burrow deep into the mud or find a sheltered crevice. Your heart rate slows to an almost imperceptible flutter. Your metabolism drops to a bare minimum, and your body enters a profound state of inactivity. You become unresponsive, essentially in a state of suspended animation, waiting for the conditions to become favorable again. This isn't just sleep, it's a deep, life-saving coma, a true evolutionary marvel. One mainstream historical fact about amphibians is their incredible ability to undergo estivation dormancy during heat, drought, and hibernation dormancy during cold. These are not simply prolonged naps. They involve complex physiological changes, including altered blood chemistry and suppressed immune responses, allowing them to survive for months, sometimes even years, without food or water. It's a bit like having a built-in survival bunker that you can activate anytime you need a very, very long break from reality. A quirky tidbit? Some species of frogs in extremely cold climates can actually survive being almost completely frozen solid, with ice crystals forming between their cells, then thaw out and hop away when temperatures rise. They basically turn themselves into a froggy popsicle and then miraculously reanimate. Historians still argue whether the evolutionary pressure for such extreme forms of torpor in amphibians was primarily driven by the unpredictability of terrestrial environments, or if it was an adaptive strategy inherited from their aquatic ancestors to survive stagnant or anoxic waters. Was it about dodging heat waves or making the most of bad oxygen? For you, the sensation is one of profound resilience. Amphibian torpor demonstrates that rest can be far more than just a daily need. It can be a powerful, life-saving adaptation, allowing organisms to literally weather the storm of extreme environmental conditions. This deep adaptive dormancy is a critical chapter in the story of how life learned to survive, and ultimately, how sleep became an indispensable tool for enduring the planet's ever-changing moods. You've just witnessed the remarkable, life-saving torpor of amphibians, a deep sleep born of necessity. Now, you observe their evolutionary cousins, the reptiles, and their approach to downtime, reptilian stillness, conserving ancient energy. You watch as these cold-blooded creatures engage in prolonged periods of motionless rest, a testament to an energy-saving strategy refined over hundreds of millions of years. It's like a living solar panel that knows precisely when to maximize its charge and when to simply power down. Imagine yourself as a prehistoric lizard basking on a warm rock. During the active hours, you're a creature of quick bursts of energy, darting to catch prey or escape a predator. But because your body temperature is regulated by your environment, your metabolism is inherently tied to the sun's warmth. As dusk approaches, or when the temperature drops, you instinctively seek out a sheltered spot, a burrow, or a shady crevice. Your movements cease entirely. Your breathing becomes incredibly shallow, and your heart rate plummets. You enter a state of deep, almost meditative stillness, appearing outwardly lifeless. This isn't just about sleeping. It's a sophisticated form of physiological shutdown, a highly efficient way to conserve precious energy in a fluctuating world, waiting for the sun's return to reanimate your body. It's the original low-power mode, perfected long before smartphones. One mainstream historical fact about reptilian rest is that many species, like alligators and pythons, can go for extraordinarily long periods without food or sustained activity, largely due to their ability to dramatically reduce their metabolic rates during these resting phases. They are masters of energy efficiency. It's a bit like having a car that can run on a single drop of fuel for weeks. A quirky tidbit? Some theories suggest that early reptiles might have evolved this deep stillness not just for energy conservation, but also as a form of crypsis, blending in with their surroundings by remaining perfectly motionless to avoid detection by predators or even unwary prey. It was the ultimate, "don't move, they can't see you" strategy. Historians still argue whether the presence of rudimentary dreamlike states, or at least periods of heightened brain activity during reptilian rest, suggests a very ancient evolutionary origin for what would eventually become REM sleep in mammals. Do their brains do anything interesting while they're playing dead? For you, the sensation is one of profound patience and efficiency. Reptilian stillness highlights a crucial evolutionary path for sleep, a state of deep rest driven by the elegant simplicity of conserving energy when environmental conditions are unfavorable or when danger looms. This ancient, quiet strategy paved the way for more complex forms of sleep, demonstrating that sometimes the best way to thrive is to simply be still and wait. The earth itself seems to pause, watching these ancient survivors conserve their vital warmth. You've absorbed the ancient, energy-saving stillness of reptiles. Now look to the skies for a truly remarkable evolutionary innovation in rest. Avian unihemispheric sleep, half-awake flight. You discover how birds, those masters of the air, develop the incredible ability to rest one half of their brain while keeping the other half awake and vigilant. It's like having an internal dimmer switch for your consciousness, allowing you to snooze and survey for danger simultaneously. Imagine yourself as a migratory bird, soaring across vast oceans or continent-spanning distances. During these epic journeys, stopping to sleep in a conventional sense is often impossible or too dangerous. Yet the need for rest is paramount. You feel an almost surreal sensation as one eye closes and one side of your brain enters a deep, restorative sleep, often even showing slow-wave activity, akin to our own deepest slumber. Meanwhile, the other eye remains open, constantly scanning for predators, monitoring the flock, or navigating by the stars. Your body continues its rhythmic wing beats, but a significant portion of your being is utterly at rest. It's the ultimate multitasking nap, a biological marvel that allows for both survival and recuperation in motion. One mainstream historical fact about unihemispheric sleep is that it's also observed in some marine mammals, like dolphins and whales. These creatures, which must surface to breathe, use this ability to rest while remaining conscious enough to avoid drowning or monitor their pods. It proves that nature, in its infinite wisdom, finds similar solutions for similar problems, even across vastly different lineages. It's a bit like two completely different companies independently inventing the same incredibly useful gadget. A quirky tidbit? Scientists can actually measure the depth of sleep in each hemisphere of a bird's brain. They've found that the hemisphere connected to the closed eye typically shows deeper sleep, while the one connected to the open eye remains more active. It's a literal half-asleep, half-awake situation, and frankly sounds a little exhausting. Historians still argue whether the primary evolutionary driver for unihemispheric sleep in birds was predator avoidance during flight, or if it was more fundamentally about optimizing energy conservation during long migratory journeys where complete unconsciousness would be too costly. Was it about not becoming someone's dinner, or just really needing to save battery life on a long trip? For you, the sensation is one of ingenious adaptation. Avian unihemispheric sleep demonstrates that the drive for rest is so powerful, so essential, that life will evolve astonishing mechanisms to achieve it, even in the most demanding circumstances. This remarkable strategy is a crucial step closer to the complex, differentiated sleep patterns that would eventually emerge in mammals, paving the way for full brain rest. You've marveled at the aerial ingenuity of birds and their half-sleeping feats. Now, we descend from the skies and step into a new, warmer chapter of evolution. Mammalian naps, warm-blooded necessity. You explore the emergence of distinct sleep stages in early mammals, a profound leap that laid the groundwork for the complex, restorative sleep you experience every night. It's like the universe finally invented a true off switch with different modes, rather than just a standby button. Imagine yourself as an early, scurrying mammal, perhaps a shrew-like creature darting through the undergrowth of a Mesozoic forest. Unlike your cold-blooded reptilian ancestors, you maintain a constant internal body temperature. This warm-bloodedness, while offering a huge advantage in activity levels, also comes at an energy cost. And this cost means that long periods of continuous activity are simply not sustainable. You feel a distinct internal signal to seek shelter, a cozy burrow or a hollow log. Once there, you don't just slow down, you enter a state of deep unconsciousness, a profound disengagement from the external world. Your muscles relax completely. Your breathing becomes regular and deep, and your brain enters new, specific patterns of activity. This isn't just rest, it's true sleep. a critical part of maintaining that high, constant metabolic rate. One mainstream historical fact about early mammals is that their evolution of warm-bloodedness, endothermy, likely coincided with the development of more sophisticated, distinct sleep stages. The demands of maintaining a high body temperature constantly required efficient ways to restore energy and repair tissues, making deep, consolidated sleep a powerful evolutionary advantage. It's a bit like buying a high-performance sports car. You need really good oil changes and a dedicated garage for maintenance. A quirky tidbit? Some fossil evidence suggests that early mammals might have also evolved whiskers and specialized senses, which allowed them to navigate and forage effectively in the dark, thus pushing their activity cycles into the nighttime, a safer time to be active for smaller creatures when larger, cold-blooded predators were less agile. This would have further cemented the need for dedicated deep sleep during the warmer daylight hours. Historians still argue whether the primary evolutionary pressure for the development of distinct sleep stages in mammals was driven by the increased metabolic demands of warm-bloodedness, or if it was more fundamentally about optimizing brain function, allowing for greater learning and memory consolidation. Was it about physical repair or making smarter creatures? For you, the sensation is one of profound physiological advancement. Mammalian sleep, with its organized stages, represents a significant evolutionary investment. It allowed these creatures to efficiently recover, process information, and ultimately thrive in a world that demanded more from them than ever before. This deep, structured rest is a vital legacy, leading directly to the complex sleep architecture that now cradles your own dreams. You've seen the emergence of distinct sleep stages in early mammals, a crucial step. Now, as you delve deeper into the brain's nighttime activity, you encounter one of sleep's most captivating and mysterious phenomena, REM's mystery, dreaming's ancient roots. You ponder the evolutionary purpose and origin of rapid eye movement sleep, that peculiar state where your eyes dart beneath your lids and your mind often takes flight into vivid, bizarre narratives. It's like discovering a secret nightly theater playing inside your head, whose ancient purpose is still being debated. Imagine your brain, now far more complex than that of a reptile or a bird, entering this unique state. During REM sleep, your muscles are temporarily paralyzed, a clever evolutionary trick to stop you from acting out your dreams, which would be quite problematic if you were, say, dreaming of fighting a saber-toothed tiger. Yet, your brain activity, measured by modern instruments, looks remarkably similar to wakefulness, often even more active in certain areas. You might feel the intense, emotional resonance of a dream as it unfolds, even if the specifics are hazy upon waking. This paradox, a highly active brain in a paralyzed body, has fascinated scientists for centuries, hinting at a purpose far beyond mere rest. One mainstream historical fact about REM sleep is its discovery in the 1950s by scientists Eugene Aserinsky and Nathaniel Kleitman. Before their groundbreaking work, sleep was largely considered a passive, uniform state of unconsciousness. Their discovery revolutionized our understanding of the brain's activity during sleep, revealing its dynamic, multifaceted nature. It's a bit like finally realizing there was a whole secret dance party happening in your apartment every night, and you were just missing it. A quirky tidbit? Some research suggests that during REM sleep, your brain is actually practicing complex motor skills or navigating social scenarios, consolidating memories, and preparing for future challenges. It's like your brain is running a sophisticated flight simulator, even if you're just dreaming of flying a kite. Historians still argue whether the primary evolutionary function of REM sleep is primarily for memory consolidation and learning, emotional processing, or if it serves a more fundamental role in brain development, particularly in infants. Is it about remembering facts, processing feelings, or just growing smarter? For you, the sensation is one of profound internal activity. REM sleep is not just a passive state, it's a dynamic, active phase where your brain is intensely engaged in its own unique work. This mysterious, dreaming stage of sleep is an ancient legacy, a deep evolutionary investment in mental processing that continues to unfold every time you close your eyes. The very fabric of your thoughts seems to weave themselves into intricate, often fantastical patterns during this unique state. You've just pondered the enigmatic nature of REM sleep and its active, dreaming landscape. Now, we shift to its profound counterpart, the deep, foundational rest that underpins your daily function, non-REM's role, deep rest's restoration. You understand the critical restorative functions of slow-wave sleep, that seemingly quiet phase where your body and mind truly power down for crucial maintenance. It's like the universe designed a nightly pit stop for total system repair, not just a quick refuel. Imagine your brain, having navigated a day full of sensations, decisions, and challenges, slowly transitioning into this profound state. Your breathing becomes slower and more rhythmic. Your heart rate drops, and your muscles relax even further than in REM. Your brain waves, usually a frantic jumble of activity, slow into large, synchronized, rolling waves, a hallmark of deep sleep. This is when your body focuses on physical repair, muscle growth, tissue regeneration, and the release of growth hormones. But it's also crucial for your brain, acting as a massive waste disposal system, literally flushing out metabolic byproducts that accumulate during wakefulness. You might feel a profound sense of peace, a deep, almost unconscious healing occurring, setting you up for the next day. One mainstream historical fact about non-REM sleep is its incredible importance for physical recovery and immune function. Studies have consistently shown that prolonged deprivation of deep non-REM sleep significantly impairs immune responses, making you more susceptible to illness. It's why you always feel worse when you're sick and haven't slept well. Your body is trying to fight off invaders, but its repair crew is exhausted. A quirky tidbit? Recent research suggests that during deep non-REM sleep, the brain's cerebrospinal fluid actually surges in waves, physically washing away waste proteins like beta amyloid, which are linked to neurodegenerative diseases. It's like your brain has its own internal dishwashing cycle, making sure everything is sparkling clean for the morning. Historians still argue whether the evolution of distinct, deep, non-REM stages was primarily driven by the metabolic demands of a larger, more complex mammalian brain, or if it was more fundamentally about optimizing the efficiency of memory consolidation and cognitive processing. Was it about cleaning house for physical function, or for sharper thinking? For you, the sensation is one of profound, vital restoration. Non-REM sleep is not merely an absence of wakefulness. It is an active, essential process of repair and detoxification for your entire being. This deep, regenerative phase of sleep is an ancient, indispensable gift, allowing your body and mind to rebuild and recharge, ensuring you wake up ready to face the world anew. It is the silent, tireless work that makes every new day possible. You've delved into the profound restorative powers of non-REM sleep. Now consider a critical evolutionary tension that shaped sleep's very existence. Predator versus prey, the sleep dilemma. You grasp the inherent trade-offs between the absolute necessity of deep slumber and the ever-present danger of becoming someone else's meal. It's like a deadly game of hide and seek played out over millions of years, where losing means not waking up. Imagine yourself as an early herbivore, grazing peacefully on an ancient savanna. Your large, powerful muscles, while great for running, also demand significant rest and repair. But as you enter deep sleep, your senses dull, your body relaxes, and you become incredibly vulnerable. The rustle of a leaf, the scent carried on the wind, these vital clues to danger are easily missed. This is where the evolutionary dilemma truly kicks in. How much sleep can you afford to get before you become an easy target? The answer often dictates not just the duration, but also the type and location of sleep. You might feel a primal anxiety, an instinctual urge to stay just aware enough, even in the deepest slumber, always with one ear cocked for trouble. One mainstream historical fact about this dilemma is that sleep duration and architecture vary dramatically across species, directly reflecting their ecological niche and predation risk. For instance, large herbivores like giraffes and elephants, highly vulnerable to predators, sleep for very short fragmented periods, often standing up. Predators, on the other hand, like lions, can afford to sleep for much longer, more consolidated stretches as they face fewer immediate threats. It's a bit like comparing a security guard's quick catnaps to a CEO's luxurious 8 hours. The stakes are just very different. A quirky tidbit? Some prey animals have evolved surprisingly clever strategies to mitigate this risk. For example, ducks can engage in unihemispheric sleep while huddling in a row, with the ducks at the ends of the row keeping one eye open, effectively acting as sentinels for the entire group. They're basically outsourcing their vigilance. Historians still argue whether the intensity of predation pressure in specific ancient ecosystems was a more significant driver of sleep evolution than other factors, such as metabolic rate or brain complexity. Did the fear of being eaten shape sleep more profoundly than the need for energy repair? For you, the sensation is one of constant evolutionary negotiation. The predator-prey dynamic forced life to develop ingenious solutions to the sleep dilemma, balancing vulnerability with necessity. This ancient life-or-death trade-off refined the art of rest, making it not just a biological imperative, but a carefully calibrated survival strategy, etched deep into the very core of how every creature, including you, chooses to get their Z's. The shadow of danger shaped the very act of slumber. You've understood the precarious balance between sleep and survival in the predator-prey dance. Now, as we narrow our focus to your closer evolutionary relatives, the primates, you observe how they mastered the art of safe slumber. The primates perch, arboreal sleep adaptations. You see how tree-dwelling primates evolved ingenious strategies to ensure their rest was both deep and secure, far above the dangers lurking on the forest floor. It's like discovering the world's first treehouse hotel, designed for maximum safety and comfort. Imagine yourself as an early primate, living in the lush ancient canopies. The forest floor below is teeming with nocturnal predators, big cats, snakes, and other dangers that make sleeping on the ground a death wish. You feel an innate drive to climb, to seek the safety of high branches. Once settled, you don't just sprawl out. You might select a specific fork in the tree, or even intricately weave together branches and leaves to create a sturdy, elevated sleeping platform, a rudimentary nest. Your grip, strong and adaptable, allows you to remain securely anchored even in deep slumber. This arboreal lifestyle fundamentally shaped primate sleep, prioritizing security and minimizing the risk of falling or becoming an easy target. It's the original high ground strategy applied to bedtime. One mainstream historical fact about primate sleep is that many species, from tiny marmosets to large apes, still construct sophisticated sleeping nests or use specific arboreal locations for rest. These nests are often reused or new ones built nightly, depending on the species and environmental factors, a testament to their continued evolutionary importance. It's a bit like having a recurring reservation at the most exclusive and safest resort in the jungle. A quirky tidbit: some primatologists have observed that chimpanzees, your very close cousins, are surprisingly meticulous about their nest building. They'll often select specific types of branches for comfort and stability, even adding leafy pillows or blankets, proving that even chimps appreciate a good night's sleep in a well-made bed. Historians still argue whether the development of complex cognitive abilities in primates was primarily driven by the safety afforded by arboreal sleep, allowing for more undisturbed deep sleep and brain development, or if the demands of complex social structures were the more significant factor in shaping their sleep patterns. Did safe slumber make them smarter, or did smarts lead to safer slumber? For you, the sensation is one of evolutionary ingenuity. The primate's perch demonstrates how environmental pressures, particularly the threat of predation, can drive the evolution of highly specialized behaviors and anatomical features related to sleep. This ancient arboreal adaptation is a critical chapter in your own story, directly contributing to the evolution of the safe, secure, and restorative sleep you enjoy tonight, far from the lurking shadows of the primeval forest floor. You've seen the ingenuity of primates in securing their slumber high in the trees. Now, we reach the culmination of this immense evolutionary saga, focusing on your own nightly experience, human sleep cycles, complexity evolving. You delve into the intricate stages and architecture of human sleep, understanding how millions of years of adaptation have culminated in the highly organized, multi-layered rest you experience tonight. It's like discovering the meticulously choreographed ballet that plays out in your brain every time you close your eyes. Imagine yourself lying down, the day's activities fading into a gentle hum. Your body begins its descent into the first stage of non-REM sleep, a light doze where your brain waves slow and your muscles relax. Then you drift deeper into the second stage, where your body temperature drops and unique bursts of brain activity called sleep spindles occur. This leads to the profound, restorative third stage of non-REM sleep, often called slow-wave sleep or deep sleep, where your brain waves are large and slow, and physical repair takes center stage. Finally, about 90 minutes after falling asleep, your brain suddenly bursts into activity. Your eyes dart rapidly beneath your lids, and you enter REM sleep, the stage of vivid dreaming. This entire cycle then repeats multiple times throughout the night, with the proportion of REM sleep generally increasing towards morning. One mainstream historical fact about human sleep is the discovery of these distinct sleep stages and their associated brainwave patterns using electroencephalography, EEG, in the early 20th century. This technological breakthrough allowed scientists to move beyond simply observing sleep and begin to truly map its complex internal landscape, revealing that sleep is far from a passive state. It's a bit like finally getting a detailed blueprint of a building you thought was just a solid block. A quirky tidbit? While the average human sleeps around 7-9 hours, some individuals possess a rare genetic mutation, often involving the DEC2 gene, that allows them to function optimally on significantly less sleep, sometimes as little as 4-6 hours, without any apparent ill effects. They're basically the sleep superheroes among us, probably winning all the "who can stay awake longest" competitions. Historians still argue whether the reduction in average human sleep duration over recent centuries is primarily a result of technological advancements like artificial light and media, or if there are subtle evolutionary pressures still at play influencing our sleep needs in a rapidly changing world. Are we just staying up late because we can? Or are our genes trying to tell us something new? For you, the sensation is one of profound physiological marvel. Your human sleep cycle is a masterwork of evolution, a highly specialized program designed to maximize restoration, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. Every stage, every shift, is a testament to the immense pressures and ingenious adaptations that have shaped life's journey from primordial rest to the complex, essential slumber that now carries you into the night. It's the grand finale of a billion-year symphony of ZZs. You've explored the intricate symphony of human sleep cycles in adulthood. Now, let's rewind your personal timeline, journeying back to the very beginning of life, to understand infant sleep, rapid brain development. You observe the unique, intense sleep patterns in human and animal infants, a period where sleep isn't just about rest, but about the explosive growth and wiring of the brain. It's like discovering that a significant portion of a baby's earliest existence is actually spent in a hyper-accelerated learning mode, all while they're seemingly unconscious. Imagine yourself as a newborn, whether human or a tiny mammalian pup. Your world is a blur of new sensations, sounds, and rudimentary needs. You spend an astonishing proportion of your day, often 16 to 18 hours or even more, in a state of sleep. But this isn't simply adult sleep, condensed. A huge chunk of this time, especially in human infants, is spent in REM sleep, far more than adults. You might feel a profound sense of the sheer intensity of internal processing, even without conscious awareness. Your brain is a rapidly firing network, making billions of new connections, refining neural pathways, and quite literally building its operating system from the ground up. This intense, active sleep is less about tired repair and more about frantic, silent construction. One mainstream historical fact about infant sleep is that human babies spend approximately 50% of their sleep in REM, compared to about 20–25% for adults. This incredibly high proportion of REM sleep is thought to be crucial for brain development, particularly for synaptic pruning, getting rid of unnecessary connections, and the consolidation of early learning experiences. It's like a super-efficient construction crew working overtime on a brand new skyscraper, laying down all the essential wiring. A quirky tidbit? Some research suggests that the twitches and jerks you often see in sleeping babies and puppies, known as myoclonic jerks, might not just be random. They could be the developing motor cortex practicing movements and laying down muscle memory even before conscious control takes over. They're basically rehearsing their future wiggles and wobbles. Historians still argue whether the evolutionary pressure for such extended and REM-rich infant sleep was primarily driven by the need for massive brain development, or if it also served a critical role in conserving energy in highly dependent, vulnerable young animals. Was it about growing brains faster, or just keeping tiny creatures safe and still? For you, the sensation is one of breathtaking, silent growth. Infant sleep is a testament to nature's incredible efficiency, turning periods of apparent inactivity into intense phases of development. This specialized form of slumber is a crucial blueprint for all future learning and conscious experience, laying the foundational neurological pathways for the complex, waking life that is yet to fully unfold. The seeds of future thought are planted, tended, and nurtured in these earliest, deepest Zs. You've witnessed the remarkable intensity of infant sleep, a period of profound brain development. Now, fast forward through childhood and puberty, and you'll encounter another distinct shift in the architecture of rest. Adolescent shift. Later bedtimes evolve. You recognize the distinct changes in sleep patterns during teenage years, not just in humans but across many mammalian species, a fascinating evolutionary adaptation tied to developmental changes. It's like your internal clock gets a significant temporary recalibration, moving your prime time for rest a few hours later. Imagine yourself as an adolescent, perhaps an ancient hominid navigating the complexities of emerging adulthood. Your body is undergoing rapid physical changes. Your brain is rewiring itself for higher-level thinking and social navigation, and your reproductive hormones are surging. Suddenly, that early evening drowsiness of childhood seems to vanish. You find yourself naturally more alert later into the night, feeling a drive to stay awake, socialize, or explore when the younger ones are fast asleep. This isn't just about defiance or late-night gaming. It's a profound biological shift in your circadian rhythm, your internal 24-hour clock, pushing your natural sleep onset later. It's almost as if evolution is saying, "Okay, young one, time to explore the nocturnal world, but don't forget to eventually rest." One mainstream historical fact about adolescent sleep is the phenomenon of sleep phase delay that occurs almost universally in mammalian puberty. Research shows that melatonin, the hormone that signals sleep onset, is released later in the evening during adolescence compared to childhood or adulthood. This biological shift makes it genuinely harder for teenagers to fall asleep before 11 p.m. or even later. It's why forcing a teenager to go to bed at 9 p.m. is often an exercise in futility, like trying to convince a nocturnal owl to nap at midday. A quirky tidbit? Some theories suggest this evolutionary shift might have offered advantages in ancestral human societies, allowing adolescents, who were physically maturing, to contribute to evening vigilance, group protection, or specialized nocturnal foraging activities that younger children or exhausted adults couldn't. They were basically the original night watch, with a side of hormonal rebellion. Historians still argue whether the increased pressure for early school start times in modern societies exacerbates the natural adolescent sleep phase delay, leading to widespread sleep deprivation, or if cultural factors like screen time are more significant drivers of this modern sleep crisis. Is it the school bell or the phone screen? For you, the sensation is one of nuanced biological timing. The adolescent sleep shift is a sophisticated evolutionary adaptation, preparing young organisms for new roles and challenges by subtly adjusting their periods of activity and rest. This temporary but profound change in sleep timing is a vital chapter in the story of how life balances the need for deep restoration with the dynamic demands of growth, maturation, and the emerging responsibilities of adulthood. The biological clock ticks to a different rhythm for a crucial few years. You've navigated the fascinating shift in sleep patterns during adolescence. Now, continue forward on the timeline of life to its later stages, where you observe the natural conclusion of this biological journey. Elderly sleep, fragmented, shorter rest. You perceive the distinct alterations in sleep quality and duration that often accompany aging, a common and natural part of the human and animal experience, shaped by deep evolutionary processes. It's like a very old, beloved clock whose springs are still working, but perhaps not quite as tightly wound as they once were, leading to more frequent, shorter ticks. Imagine yourself in the twilight years, whether as an ancient human elder gathered around a dwindling campfire, or a wise old lion resting on the savannah. The long, unbroken stretches of deep slumber you enjoyed in youth become less frequent. You might find yourself waking more often during the night, perhaps feeling less deeply rested in the morning. The proportion of precious deep non-REM sleep, stage 3, often decreases, while lighter sleep stages become more prevalent. This isn't necessarily a sign of illness. It's a natural physiological change, influenced by shifts in hormone production, changes in brain structure, and altered circadian rhythms. Your body, having diligently worked for decades, simply needs a different kind of rest, more fragmented but still essential. One mainstream historical fact about elderly sleep is that this age-related fragmentation of sleep is almost universal across mammalian species, indicating a deep evolutionary basis rather than purely modern lifestyle factors. It's a natural part of the aging process, reflecting changes in the brain's sleep-regulating systems. It's a bit like your favorite old blanket becoming a bit thinner over the years. It still keeps you warm, but maybe not quite as plush as it once was. A quirky tidbit? Despite sleeping less deeply, many older adults report being more satisfied with their sleep than younger adults. This might be due to lower expectations or a greater acceptance of their altered sleep patterns, or perhaps a unique form of wisdom that comes with age. Well, this is my sleep now, and it's doing its best. Historians still argue whether the increased prevalence of sleep disturbances in older modern populations is primarily due to the natural aging process itself, or if it's significantly exacerbated by external factors like chronic illness, medication side effects, social isolation, or even noise pollution. Are we just naturally sleeping less, or are we making it worse for ourselves? For you, the sensation is one of profound acceptance. Elderly sleep reflects the wisdom of an evolved system, adapting its needs to the changing demands of an aging body and mind. This shift in sleep architecture is a gentle reminder of life's continuous flow, a testament to the enduring necessity of rest, even as its form and quality subtly transform with the passage of time. The final chapters of life are still filled with the quiet, persistent rhythm of sleep. You've charted the natural arc of sleep through infancy, adolescence, and old age. Now, shift your perspective from the purely biological to the rich tapestry of human societies, cultural sleep, diverse human practices. You explore the wide array of historical and global human sleep habits, revealing that a good night's sleep isn't a universal constant, but a fascinating reflection of environment, community, and belief. It's like discovering that while everyone needs to eat, the way they prepare and consume their meals varies wildly across the globe. Imagine yourself in a world without electric lights, central heating, or even glass windows. Your sleep patterns would be dictated far more by the natural rhythms of the sun, the temperature, and the sounds of your environment. You might be part of a multi-generational family sharing a single room or even a single sleeping mat, with constant background noise and intermittent awakenings. You might experience biphasic sleep, a historical norm where people had a first sleep after dusk, woke for an hour or two in the middle of the night for chores or social interaction, and then returned for a second sleep until dawn. This wasn't considered an interruption. It was just how sleep worked for centuries. You might feel a profound connection to these ancient rhythms, so different from your own insulated, consolidated night. One mainstream historical fact here is that consolidated 8-hour nighttime sleep, monophasic sleep, only became the dominant cultural norm in Western societies with the advent of artificial lighting and the Industrial Revolution. Before reliable indoor lighting, segmented sleep was much more common, dictated by the limitations of natural light and the need for communal vigilance or work in the dark. It's a bit like assuming everyone has always eaten with forks and knives, when spoons and fingers were often the standard. A quirky tidbit? Some indigenous cultures even today have no direct equivalent word for sleep as a singular distinct state, viewing it more as a continuum of rest and altered consciousness, blending seamlessly into waking life and dreaming. It's almost as if they haven't quite bought into our rigid definitions of on and off. Historians still argue whether the shift to monophasic sleep in industrial societies led to a net improvement in human health and productivity, or if it introduced new forms of sleep-related stress and deprivation by disrupting an older, more natural pattern. Did consolidation make us better, or just more efficient at being tired? For you, the sensation is one of profound cultural variability. Human sleep, while biologically driven, is incredibly flexible and shaped by the social and technological landscapes we inhabit. This journey through diverse sleep practices reveals that your modern bedtime routine is a relatively recent invention, a testament to how profoundly culture can influence even the most fundamental biological needs. The history of sleep is as varied as humanity itself. You've just witnessed the fascinating diversity of cultural sleep, a testament to human adaptability. Now, as you move closer to the present day, you confront a less harmonious chapter in sleep's story. Sleep disorders, modern malfunctions emerge. You identify common sleep disturbances and their often complex evolutionary roots, revealing how the very systems designed for rest can sometimes go awry in the complexities of modern life. It's like a finely tuned ancient machine suddenly encountering unexpected interference, causing it to sputter and malfunction. Imagine the subtle mechanisms that regulate your sleep, a delicate dance of neurochemicals, hormones, and internal clocks honed over millions of years. But now, in the modern world, these systems are facing unprecedented challenges. You might feel the familiar frustration of insomnia, where the biological drive for sleep is present, but the ability to drift off or stay asleep eludes you. Or perhaps you experience the sudden, uncontrollable urge to sleep that characterizes narcolepsy, a breakdown in the brain's ability to regulate sleep-wake states. You might even sense the silent struggle of sleep apnea, where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during the night, interrupting precious rest. These aren't just minor inconveniences. They are profound disruptions to an ancient, essential process, impacting everything from mood and cognitive function to long-term health. One mainstream historical fact about sleep disorders is that while their formal classification and understanding are relatively recent, largely in the last century, descriptions of symptoms resembling insomnia, sleepwalking, and even sleep apnea can be found in ancient medical texts and folklore across various cultures. This suggests that while modern life might exacerbate them, the underlying biological vulnerabilities to these disorders have existed for a long time. It's a bit like discovering that humans have always stubbed their toes, even before paved roads. A quirky tidbit? Some theories suggest that certain sleep disorders, like sleepwalking or REM sleep behavior disorder, where you act out your dreams, might be a mismatch between an ancient protective mechanism, like the paralysis during REM sleep, and a more modern brain, leading to involuntary movements that were perhaps adaptive in a different, long-gone environment. It's like your ancestral safety features are misfiring in your comfy bed. Historians still argue whether the increased prevalence of diagnosed sleep disorders in recent decades reflects a true rise in their incidence, or if it's primarily due to greater medical awareness, better diagnostic tools, and changing societal norms around sleep. Are we sicker, or just better at spotting the sickness? For you, the sensation is one of vulnerable complexity. Sleep disorders are a stark reminder that while sleep is fundamental, its delicate machinery can be easily disrupted. This chapter in sleep's evolution highlights the ongoing tension between our deeply ingrained biological needs and the rapid, often unsupportive changes in our environment. The quiet rhythm of rest is being challenged, leading to unexpected and often frustrating internal battles. You've just grappled with the emergence of sleep disorders, the frustrating malfunctions of an ancient system. Now, focus on a singularly powerful force that has reshaped your nightly rest more profoundly than almost any other in recent history: artificial light, disrupting ancient rhythms. You witness the pervasive impact of modern illumination on human sleep cycles, revealing how our mastery over darkness has inadvertently thrown a wrench into millions of years of biological programming. It's like discovering that by simply flipping a switch, you've inadvertently created a time machine that constantly tells your body it's perpetually daytime. Imagine yourself in a world, perhaps only a few centuries ago, where the only sources of light after dusk were the flickering flames of a campfire, a candle, or a humble oil lamp. The dimness of these light sources allowed your body's natural circadian rhythm, your internal 24-hour clock, to align almost perfectly with the rising and setting of the sun. The onset of darkness was a clear, unmistakable signal for your brain to begin producing melatonin, the hormone that ushers in sleep. But then came the invention of electric light, first gas lamps, then incandescent bulbs, and now the omnipresent glow of LED screens. You feel a subtle but persistent sense of disorientation, as if your internal clock is constantly being told, "It's not night yet. Stay awake. There's more to do." One mainstream historical fact about artificial light is its revolutionary impact on human activity. It allowed for the extension of workdays, the creation of vibrant nightlife, and altered nearly every aspect of human social and economic life. But this triumph over darkness came with an unforeseen biological cost. A quirky tidbit? The specific wavelengths of light emitted by modern electronic screens, especially the blue light spectrum, are particularly effective at suppressing melatonin production, essentially tricking your brain into thinking it's still daytime. It's a bit like having a tiny, glowing sun glued to your face right before bed, asking your brain, "Are you sure you want to go to sleep?" Historians still argue whether the long-term societal benefits of extended waking hours enabled by artificial light outweigh the potential health consequences of chronic circadian disruption and widespread sleep deprivation. Did we gain more than we lost by conquering the night? For you, the sensation is one of profound biological conflict. Artificial light, a marvel of human ingenuity, has become a powerful disruptor of an ancient, finely tuned biological system. This chapter in sleep's evolution highlights the ongoing struggle between our technological advancements and our deeply ingrained biological needs, forcing us to reevaluate how we use light and darkness to foster true rest. The glow of the screen casts a long shadow over the simple act of falling asleep. You've explored the profound impact of artificial light on your ancient sleep rhythms. Now, consider another powerful force shaping modern rest: technology's role, monitoring, and meddling. You consider how new tools, from fitness trackers to smartphones, both aid and interfere with your natural sleep patterns, creating a complex, often paradoxical relationship with the very act of slumber. It's like having a hyper-attentive, opinionated personal assistant for your sleep, who sometimes helps and sometimes just creates more noise. Imagine strapping a sleek device to your wrist before bed, or placing your smartphone on your nightstand. These gadgets, equipped with accelerometers and heart rate monitors, promise to track your sleep cycles, tell you how much deep sleep you got, and even wake you at the optimal moment. You might feel a strange mix of reassurance from the data and anxiety from the constant feedback. While they offer insights, the very presence of these devices, with their glowing screens and constant notifications, often delays sleep, onset, fragments, rest, or encourages obsessive tracking that paradoxically increases stress about sleep. It's a classic double-edged sword, offering knowledge at the cost of peace. One mainstream historical fact about sleep technology is the rapid proliferation of consumer sleep trackers in the past decade. What was once confined to specialized sleep labs has now become readily accessible, bringing a new level of awareness, and sometimes obsession, to personal sleep habits. It's a bit like suddenly having a personal trainer for your dreams, yelling motivational messages from your wrist. A quirky tidbit? Some smart beds and apps now claim to adjust mattress firmness or play specific soundscapes in real time based on your sleep stage, attempting to optimize your rest even if you're not aware of it. They're basically trying to micromanage your unconscious. Historians still argue whether the increased data provided by sleep technology genuinely leads to improved sleep health in the long run, or if it contributes to orthosomnia, an unhealthy preoccupation with perfect sleep metrics that can ironically worsen insomnia. Are we becoming healthier sleepers, or just more anxious about our sleep scores? For you, the sensation is one of constant, sometimes overwhelming information. Technology's role in sleep is a modern paradox, offering unprecedented insights while simultaneously posing new challenges to the quiet, undisturbed rest your ancient biology craves. This chapter highlights how our innovative minds are perpetually inventing new ways to both understand and, sometimes inadvertently disrupt, one of life's most fundamental needs. Your very bed seems to hum with silent data. You've seen how technology both monitors and meddles with your slumber. Now, step back and observe a widespread consequence of our modern lives: sleep deprivation, the modern epidemic. You feel the pervasive effects of insufficient rest in contemporary society, a silent crisis born from the clash between your ancient biological need for sleep and the relentless demands of a 24/7 world. It's like watching a battery slowly drain, never quite getting a full charge, leading to a cascade of subtle yet significant malfunctions. Imagine your body and mind operating on a constant deficit. You might feel a dull ache behind your eyes, a persistent fogginess in your thoughts, or a subtle irritability that wasn't there before. Your reaction times might slow, your memory might become less reliable, and your ability to regulate emotions could waver. This isn't just about feeling tired. It's about a fundamental compromise of your physiological and cognitive functions. Sleep deprivation, whether chronic or acute, weakens your immune system, impacts metabolic health, and significantly increases the risk of accidents. It's a cumulative burden, a subtle erosion of your well-being that builds up night after night. You might sense the collective fatigue, a low hum of exhaustion permeating modern human existence. One mainstream historical fact about sleep deprivation is its undeniable link to major historical disasters, such as the Challenger space shuttle explosion, the Chernobyl nuclear accident, and the Exxon Valdez oil spill, all of which involved human error where fatigue was identified as a contributing factor. This starkly illustrates that lack of sleep isn't just a personal issue. It has profound societal consequences. It's a bit like driving a car on fumes. Eventually, something catastrophic is bound to happen. A quirky tidbit? Some research suggests that prolonged sleep deprivation can lead to microsleeps, brief, involuntary moments of sleep that last only a few seconds, during which the brain completely disengages. Even if your eyes are open, you might be having tiny, unremembered naps without even realizing it, often at the most inconvenient times. Historians still argue whether the societal pressures for productivity and constant availability, amplified by globalized economies and interconnected technologies, make sleep deprivation an almost unavoidable byproduct of modern life, or if there are cultural shifts and public health initiatives that could effectively reverse this trend. Are we doomed to be tired, or can we reclaim our rest? For you, the sensation is one of profound urgency. Sleep deprivation is a modern challenge to an ancient biological imperative. This chapter highlights the critical importance of prioritizing rest in a world that constantly pushes against it, urging you to listen to the deep evolutionary wisdom that whispers, "You need your ziz more than you realize." The modern world is perpetually battling the body's ancient wisdom for rest. You've felt the pervasive effects of sleep deprivation, a testament to the ongoing tension between your ancient biology and the demands of modern life. Now, let's gaze into the crystal ball of evolution, the future of sleep, adapting to new realities. You contemplate how sleep might continue to evolve or be influenced in a rapidly changing world, considering both potential biological shifts and the profound impact of emerging technologies and societal norms. It's like imagining what a sleepy alien from a distant planet might look like, or how your great-great-great-grandchildren might be catching their zuz. Imagine a future where genetic engineering could potentially allow for humans to function optimally on significantly less sleep, perhaps just a few hours, without any adverse health effects. Or, conversely, a future where advanced neurostimulation techniques could induce ultra-efficient, highly restorative deep sleep in a fraction of the time. You might visualize societies that have embraced polyphasic sleep, multiple short naps throughout the day, as the norm, optimizing productivity and well-being. Or perhaps, in a more dystopian vision, you see sleep being meticulously controlled or even minimized by external forces for economic or social ends. You might feel a mix of excitement at the possibilities and a deep unease about the ethical implications of tampering with such a fundamental biological process. One mainstream historical fact to consider is that while major biological shifts like a dramatic reduction in human sleep needs would take vast evolutionary timescales, millions of years, cultural and technological influences can alter human sleep behaviors and patterns much faster, often within generations. This highlights the rapid pace at which humanity is influencing its own biology. It's a bit like comparing the speed of continental drift to the speed of a bullet train. One is incredibly slow, the other, lightning fast. A quirky tidbit? Some speculative theories suggest that as space exploration advances, future human colonies on other planets with different day-night cycles, like Mars with its roughly 24.6-hour day, might gradually evolve new circadian rhythms to adapt, perhaps leading to slightly different sleep architecture over many generations. You might literally find yourself sleeping to the rhythm of another planet. Historians still argue whether humanity's increasing reliance on technology will ultimately lead to a more profound disconnection from our natural biological rhythms, or if it will simply provide new tools to better understand and optimize our inherent need for rest. Will we become cyborgs of slumber, or simply enlightened sleepers? For you, the sensation is one of boundless possibility and profound responsibility. The future of sleep is not yet written, but it will undoubtedly be shaped by the choices humanity makes regarding its relationship with technology, health, and the ancient wisdom embedded in our biology. This final chapter underscores that while sleep is an ancient gift, its future form remains an open question, constantly evolving in response to the ever-changing landscape of human existence. The very concept of good night might subtly shift in the grand cosmic dance of evolution. You've peered into the future of sleep, a landscape shaped by technology and human choice. Now, in this final contemplative moment, you return to the core truth, the unwavering constant throughout this immense evolutionary journey. Universal rest, the enduring need. You reflect on the fundamental, undeniable necessity of sleep, a biological imperative that has persisted across billions of years and countless life forms, remaining essential for every living being, from the simplest bacterium to the most complex human. It's like realizing that no matter how much the world changes, the sun will always set, and the need for renewal will always remain. Imagine the earliest single-celled organisms, hunkering down to repair their DNA. Then, the jellyfish, gently pulsating into a state of quietude. The worms, rebooting their simple neural networks. Fish, maintaining a vigilant semi-slumber. Amphibians, freezing themselves to survive extremes. Reptiles, conserving every precious ounce of energy. Birds, half awake in flight. And finally, mammals, diving into distinct stages of profound restorative sleep. Each step along this vast evolutionary path, each adaptation, each ingenious solution to the dilemma of rest, underscores one irrefutable truth. Sleep is not a luxury. It is the very bedrock of life. It's the constant, silent work that sustains all living things, allowing for growth, repair, learning, and survival. You feel a deep, resonant hum within you, a primal connection to this universal rhythm, a feeling of coming home to a truth as old as life itself. One mainstream historical fact that encapsulates this universal need is that no known animal has been found to completely forego sleep, or a sleep-like state. While the form and duration vary wildly, from a few minutes for a giraffe to weeks for a hibernating bear, the fundamental requirement for a period of reduced activity and responsiveness with restorative properties appears to be a biological invariant. It's truly a universal law of life, as inescapable as gravity. A quirky tidbit? Even some plants exhibit sleep-like movements, folding their leaves at night in a process called nyctinasty, regulated by internal circadian clocks. While not sleep in the animal sense, it shows that the rhythm of rest and activity is literally embedded in the very green fabric of our planet. Historians still argue whether the fundamental reason for sleep, across all life forms, is primarily about energy conservation, or if it's more deeply rooted in the universal need for cellular repair and the removal of metabolic waste products that accumulate during wakefulness. Is it about saving power, or cleaning house, or something even more profound we don't fully grasp? For you, the sensation is one of profound peace and understanding. The journey through the evolution of sleep reveals not just a biological function, but a grand narrative of life itself, constantly adapting, innovating, and enduring through the quiet, restorative power of rest. As the world continues its rapid, ever-changing pace, the ancient, universal need for sleep remains a constant, unwavering anchor, pulling you gently towards renewal every single night. The very act of closing your eyes tonight is a participation in a billion-year-old dance, a legacy of life itself. The pervasive hum of ancient life and the quiet pulse of your own being now begin to fade into a gentle stillness. The journey through eons of evolution, the vibrant images of ancient creatures, the intricate dance of cells, and the profound wisdom of your own body all soften into a comforting haze. The demands of the waking world, the ticking clocks, the endless to-do lists, they all recede, melting into the soft, comforting darkness around you. Feel your breath deepen, your muscles relax, your thoughts quiet. The knowledge that sleep is not just a habit, but a fundamental, indispensable part of your very existence wraps around you like a warm, familiar blanket. You are connected to every creature that has ever sought rest, every organism that has ever surrendered to the restorative embrace of unconsciousness. Let the echoes of this vast, incredible story gently guide you deeper and deeper into your own well-deserved slumber. All is calm, all is quiet.